Be honest. It feels good to get something right, right?
What do you mean?
Remember a long time ago, about a few months ago, you said that when we were talking about coaches that could be on the hot seat,
Yeah.
that John Harbaugh could be fired. I think he was the Ravens were 1-5 at the time, and I was like, I don't see that happening. And then even with all of the media stuff, I was like, I'm not buying it, not buying it. And then sure enough, it happened. And a lot of people have brought this up throughout the season. I'll give credit to you, sir. I'll give credit to you, sir. You were
Yeah.
the first person I heard
Thanks,
bring
buddy.
that up.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's more of a prediction or more of a, hey, I threw shit on the wall and this one stuck. Out of every opinion that we give on this podcast, but I guess it did feel gratifying, but I don't take much pleasure in being right that someone lost their job after 18 years.
Yeah, but he'll land on his feet.
He absolutely will. It's just, it's still something I don't think he was expecting.
Yeah.
And I don't know, being right about someone getting fired. I'd rather be correct about, I don't know, who won the Super Bowl. I think what I would feel better about personally, I'm going to make this about me.
All right.
I think
when it comes to predictions, it's not about John Harbaugh and him losing his job. It's about you.
Yeah. No, personally though, if as far as predictions in sports, something I'd love to be right about is the underrated team that no one's talking about that makes it farther than anyone thought, but you had them first. I thought I had that in 2021 in baseball. I was going out on a limb. I said, I think the Twins are a lot better than everyone thinks. And I had the Twins going all the way to the World Series. Yet they finished dead last in the American League Central and only had like 70 wins that year.
Well, that's ironic because I remember a couple of years ago, I picked the Twins to win the AL Central, and you were like, that's so stupid, Derek. And then they did. It was the Carlos Correa effect.
The dynamics of this podcast. Look, man, I take no pleasure in John Harbaugh's firing, but I can't say I'm that surprised by it. I think Kyle Brandt had the perfect way of putting it, which is that type of firing is jarring. Anytime something like that happens, it's jarring, but it's not surprising.
You mean to tell me that he didn't make some correlation where John Harbaugh is the perfect head coach for Cam Scattaboo?
Oh, absolutely. That's what he was thinking in the back of his mind.
Sure. He's a Cam Scattaboo fanatic. We'll talk about it today. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. We're coming to you on a Saturday morning on Wildcard weekend. No longer Super Wildcard weekend, Stephen. I don't know if you knew that. They dropped the Super. It's a big deal. But we'll talk about the head coaching carousel. We'll talk about last night's performance by maybe the first overall pick in the NFL draft for the Raiders, Fernando Mendoza. He's been on a tear. But is he a sure lock first overall pick or just a generational talent when it comes to quarterback play? I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah.
And we'll, of course, get into the wild card matchups. But let's start off with the NFL coaching news. John Harbaugh fired on Tuesday after 18 seasons with the Baltimore Ravens. And I guess it's a mix of shock, but also like a little expectation where there was rumblings about this. And I guess a whole riff with Lamar Jackson, maybe not with John Harbaugh, but it sounds like with Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken. But yeah, Stephen, your reaction to the news when you saw it on Tuesday?
Again, not surprised. I think time had run its course. It's been 18 seasons. They haven't done really anything in the playoffs since they've been there the last 3 years. And it's not to Harbaugh's fault. It's, a drop by Mark Andrews and then a missed kick by Tyler Loop ultimately led to his firing. I don't know if I believe if that missed kick saved Mike Tomlin's job. I think Mike Tomlin would have stuck around with the Steelers. There's a lot of that sentiment going around where it was going to be either head coach, depending on which one lost that game. I don't know if I believe that with the Steelers because they just don't fire their head coaches. But with Harbaugh, it just felt like it was time. And a lot of that, he's done an excellent job in ushering in that Lamar Jackson era. Obviously, he became a 2-time MVP, bringing in Greg Roman, and it didn't really work with Todd Monken, but also building a pretty, I'd say year after year, a fairly consistent defense. They always found the right pieces, and they've always been fairly good. And players seem to love John Harbaugh. But after this season when they didn't reach the playoffs, and you're just like, okay, well, we have a Lamar Jackson who's seemingly in his prime right now, maybe a little bit past it, but who seems to be in his prime. I think they have to go in another direction. And maybe that's in the way of, I'm seeing a lot of Robert Saleh as head coach and maybe Mike McDaniel as offensive coordinator and just holding the 49ers from back in the day. I don't know about that. But I do think they just need to have someone different in the building, a different voice. Even though Harbaugh's been very consistent, it just felt like it was time to move on.
Yeah, I mean, I've always respected John Harbaugh. I think that when you talk about the best coaches in football, he's on the list. But you know me, I put value in guys that call plays, whether it's offensively or defensively. I'm not a big CEO head coach guy, but he was the ultimate delegator. Not saying that he didn't take responsibility for things, but he knew how to lead the team. He was a leader of men. And when it came to the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator, he got the best in football. But if you go back to when he was hired with the Baltimore Ravens 18 years ago, he was the special teams coordinator of the Eagles. And then as time goes on, yes, he won a lot and went to the playoffs. But how do they get better? Is there anything he could do, particularly as a head coach? He can lead. He can go into the meeting rooms and tell the coordinators this is the type of football team I want to have. But as far as in-game decisions, I think he's been one of the more aggressive coaches, and he definitely relies on the analytics.
Sure.
But I don't blame him for the playoff mistakes. Mark Andrews, the drop pass on the two-point conversion. For whatever reason, them not running the football enough in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, I thought that was kind of overblown, but I think the Chiefs just had better plays that day, better defensive plays to intercept Lamar Jackson in the end zone and Zay Flowers getting stripped on the goal line. I think just they got beat by a better team. And that's the truth with the Ravens. They're a well-coached team, and Lamar Jackson's great, but I feel like they just ran into better quarterbacks.
Sure.
Ran into better teams. They lost to Patrick Mahomes. They lost to Josh Allen. So I don't really chalk it up to like John Harbaugh getting out-coached by any means. I think that it was bound to happen. I guess I need to look into the rumors a little bit more. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And I know you weren't the first person to bring this up. I think who was it? Bill Barnwell was the first guy to bring up maybe John Harbaugh would get fired by the end of the year. And I heard Larry Krueger bring it up on KNBR, and it was a talking point. It's there with Mike Tomlin right now, even though I can't believe Mike Tomlin would want to go into TV over coaching. But I guess just now, this is just a thing in the NFL, or not just in the NFL, but in sports in general right now, where teams are going to be impatient when it comes to success.
Yeah.
Whether it's or whether it's rookie quarterbacks having success right away, we see them getting benched right away, and the Kevin O'Connell quote, where most of the time it's franchises failing quarterbacks.
Sure.
I agree with that. I think sometimes it's also franchises failing head coaches, not putting them in the right position to lead their teams. But as far as John Harbaugh, I think after 18 seasons, Steve Buscemi and company were just like, we need to do something different. And I think you're going to see a trickle effect, or I guess a ripple effect, whatever the term is. But when it comes to other owners seeing what's going on in the NFL, and they're like, well, why are we, doing the status quo right here? I saw Tom Pelissero the other day on the Rich Eisen show talk about how there could be more firings this weekend with some playoff coaches. I don't think Mike Tomlin will get fired, but he may just walk away, but I highly doubt that. People are talking about Matt LaFleur. I think he'll get a contract extension. Sean McDermott's the one guy where I'm like, if they lose to the Jaguars, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised.
It's over.
If the Pagula family looks at what the Ravens did and they're like, well, if they fired their Super Bowl winning head coach, what are we doing?
It's over. I think it's over for McDermott as soon as they lose to the Jaguars. I really do. I think that's why John Harbaugh.
As soon as they do, or if they do, Stephen? What are you saying? Okay.
If they do. I'm not saying as soon as they do. If they do.
Yeah.
If that happens. Because last year it felt like he was hanging on by a thread, where McDermott hot seat talk was kind of hovering over the playoffs. Like, why wouldn't it this year if you're going to have kind of a not wide open AFC? These playoff teams are playoff teams, but you're not having these superstars that have kind of defined the generation at quarterback anymore. So it should be, you got the one guy that does that has, the rest of the AFC. It's like you got one who's on the rise in Drake May, who's probably going to become a perennial playoff candidate if he keeps playing like he did. Doesn't have to play at an MVP level, but if he just keeps playing as an above average quarterback, top 10 quarterback, top 5 in the league, absolutely. If they're able to do that along with Mike Vrabel, yeah, I'd expect the Patriots to be here for years to come. But the Jaguars, I don't know. Maybe this is just a flash in the pan. Like, it seems like Liam Cohen's here to stay, but Trevor Lawrence is playing out of his mind right now. I don't know if that's going to be sustainable. With the Broncos and Bo Nix, honestly, I'm not taking them seriously as a 1 seed until I see Bo Nix do it in the playoffs. I hate to be doing it in the playoffs, guy, but I'm going to be doing it in the playoffs, guy.
No, but that makes sense because there's so much experience in these playoffs right now.
Yeah.
You know, the oldest head coach in the NFC is Matt LaFleur when it comes to the postseason.
Crazy, isn't it?
That's insane. He's not even that old. He's like 46.
Yeah. Tony Vitello's older than he is.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Like, it's wild. And then like there's Jim Harbaugh on the Chargers. By the way, have you watched any Jim Harbaugh press conferences lately?
Not lately. I saw the quotes about his brother, him reacting to the news, but I haven't seen them.
Why would you watch a full preview press conference? A lot of them are just kind of regurgitating all these same talking points that they always do.
Got 110%, and we're not taking this team lightly. They do a lot of great things.
But he talked about the playoffs. There's one that this has nothing to do with anything. I just wanted to bring this up because I heard it yesterday and it tickled my pickle.
Oh, hey.
But you know what tickles
in a long time.
You know what tickles Jim Harbaugh's pickle?
What's that?
The playoffs. The question was something in general about playoff intensity.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, well, go out there and play with your hair on fire. If somebody's there, hit them as hard as you can with reckless abandon without really thinking about it. Just go out there and hit them and, hit first, ask questions later, that kind of thing. That's at least what I first learned in my first playoff game. God, I love it. And then they're like, who'd you learn that from? He's like, Dan Hampton, Chicago Bears.
Yeah, the defensive tackle. Yeah.
And then he goes on, and then he goes on to talk about the quarterbacks. And he said, well, I think, they're probably looking at the tape of Justin and saying, well, I mean, better than we thought. We're kind of thinking the same thing with Drake May. I knew it was good, but watched the tape and I thought, wow, he's just better. But then Justin's exceeded everything that I could have possibly imagined. Just when you think that he couldn't get better, he just keeps leveling up. And I'll say it again. He is the best that there ever was. Oh my God, Jim. Jim. I love Jim.
It's no surprise that Jim Harbaugh's a maniac when it comes to press conferences.
Yeah. And Justin Herbert hasn't even been playing that well because of the broken hand.
Well, not to mention his offensive line is getting banged up, but
that too.
Yeah. So it'll be very interesting. I mean, that game in particular, I don't think that people are talking about it enough, where I think any of these road teams could win. There's some that we'll talk about the Niners and Eagles, and I don't know if that's as, compelling given the teams as it is on paper when it comes to the injuries. We'll get to it later, but just to finish up on the NFL coaching news.
Yeah.
As I said, the ripple effect of Harbaugh being fired, I think that had definitely effect on the Miami Dolphins, because when the report came out that Harbaugh was let go, immediately 7 or 8 teams reached out to Harbaugh if he's interested in coaching their team. And, including the Baltimore Ravens, there were 7 openings. And if you say there's 8 teams or 9 possibly, whatever the report was, then there's teams with head coaches that were reaching out. Sure enough, Black Monday's not really a thing anymore. It goes into Black Tuesday. I refer to it as Scapegoat Tuesday, because usually those days are when the head coaches that keep their jobs fire their coordinators. Saw it with Dan Quinn firing Cliff Kingsbury. That's a weird situation. I guess he undermined Dan Quinn as head coach when it came to the offensive play calling. He wanted to go more of a traditional offensive scheme, and they decided to hire David Blau as their offensive coordinator, which I don't know about that. Good guy, seen him on Hard Knocks, but he doesn't have a lot of coaching experience. I think they did that just to appease Jaden Daniels. Then also there was the Lions firing Johnny Morton after one season, replacing Ben Johnson. But Then we saw on Thursday, after John Harbaugh was fired, Mike McDaniel got axed, which is not surprising because if you were to tell me after the Thursday night game where the Ravens and Dolphins played each other that Harbaugh would have been fired before McDaniel, I thought you were crazy because I thought McDaniel was going to get fired the next day. And then there was the reports that Stephen Ross really likes Mike McDaniel. He's not a fan of Tua. So they let go of Chris Greer as GM because they wanted to sell off some players before the trade deadline. And then with them benching Tua the last, 3 games of the regular season, I thought that meant that Mike McDaniel was going to be in place to find the next coach. Then they bring in Troy Aikman. They need to find that new general manager. They have a couple of candidates that are from the 49ers. You thought that maybe Mike McDaniel handpicked those guys.
Sure.
Instead, they hired the GM from the Packers, John Eric Sullivan, and they fire Mike McDaniel. And I have to believe that was just talking to enough advisors or general managers that they were like, it's probably best just to start fresh all over again and fire Mike McDaniel as well.
Yeah, I think one thing you're finding, though, besides the Ravens seem to be a pretty well-oiled machine. But I think that just goes to show the inconsistency within that Dolphins organization, the lack of conviction with their decision-making. Like, it seemed like Mike McDaniel was going to stick around, and clearly NFL Network heard something, so where they reported that Mike McDaniel is going to be around for 2026 and beyond, because that was the first question answered to him, or the first question asked to him that he had to answer following their loss. I forgot who they played. I think did they play the Pats? I think they played the Pats.
Yeah, Patriots, yeah.
Yeah. When he was asked, NFL Network reporting that you're keeping your job around for next season, do you have any comments on that? And he said, I don't know what your sources are. I don't know what NFL Network sources are, but I am the coach of the Miami Dolphins, and I will be until I'm told otherwise, which is a kind of diplomatic answer. But I also kind of think McDaniel knew there was still some discussion to be had. It took a little while. I don't know if Troy Aikman had any input in it because he came in to advise the general manager search, but I wonder if that's just kind of a red herring almost, where you're saying like, oh, he's coming in just for the general manager search, not going to have any input on the head coach, huh?
Well, now he is, because I guess it was reported this morning that Troy Aikman will meet with the new GM, John Eric Sullivan, about the head coach. And
John Eric
we know
Sullivan, J.E. Sullivan.
Yeah, J.E. Sullivan. And I think people were putting 2 and 2 together when it came to Mike McDaniel being axed. And there was a guy that John Harbaugh was familiar with, Chad Alexander, who is the Chargers assistant GM, who worked with the Ravens for a long time, worked with John. But it's kind of weird where I do believe the Dolphins made this move because Harbaugh was available, but they're not making moves that signal to me that they're doing things to get John Harbaugh. I don't know if Harbaugh needs his handpicked GM, but if that is the case, the Dolphins don't care about that and just hired a guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, years ago, I remember when Jim Harbaugh was hired with the 49ers. Stephen Ross he's a Michigan guy. He's so obsessed with the Harbaugh family. He wanted him so bad that he met with him while Tony Sparano was still the head coach. And that rubbed Sparano the wrong way. It was an awkward year. He still remained the head coach there. But yeah, when John Harbaugh gets axed, I'm sure some teams that have head coaches are like, what are we doing? Correct. So I think it's twofold. I think it's a mix of, we want John Harbaugh. We're not going to, stop course on what we had planned. We always wanted to have the GM in place and then get the head coach. And I've heard some rumors out there that Harbaugh wants $20 million a year and his own advisor or his own general manager. But it's not like he picked Eric DaCosta or any of the GMs he worked with in the past. So I just think he's looking for the best possible situation. And I would guess right now that's probably the Giants. If you had to rank these openings, Steven, I would say Baltimore is the best because you have Lamar Jackson, obviously. After that, New York Giants, just because you have a lot of talent on that team with Malik Neighbors and all the defensive guys. I don't know about Jackson Dart. I would go Tennessee next because you have Cam Ward. There's a lot of question marks after that. I would go Cleveland because of the defense. But then again, who is your quarterback? Does it have to be where Shador's pushed on you? I would go Atlanta because of the defense, but I don't know about Kirk Cousins or Michael Penix. Sounds like Kirk Cousins is going to hit free agency with the revised contracts, and then Penix has the ACL tear. And then it's the Raiders, who have the first overall pick, but you have to go up against Mahomes and Herbert and Sean Payton and Bo Nix twice a year. Then I got Miami, but you're going to be in salary cap hell once you release Tua. And then you got Arizona, and I don't know what the hell you're doing with Kyler Murray. You're probably releasing him, but what's your answer at QB after that? So that's how I'd rank the head coaching open vacancies right now.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to rank the bottom four. Like I would just lump the Dolphins, the Cardinals, the Browns, and the Raiders all together. Pick your poison, really.
I think that's fair. Yeah,
the directions that their franchises are headed. I don't know. I would take the Falcons over the Titans. I know the quarterback situation is dicey, but there's a lot of talent on that Falcons roster, and it feels like if you bring in the right coach, they'll be able to maximize that talent. The quarterback, of course, it's an issue, but I would rather take my chances with Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts at tight end, the offensive line, and a solid defense over whatever the Titans think they're building right now with Cam Ward. It kind of, I don't know. I got to be honest. Watching Cam, like I have faith in Cam Ward, but what's the Titans going to be looking like? Because year after year, it feels like they've tried to clean house and then restart, and it just hasn't worked out yet. So unless they make, I don't know who it's going to be. I would not find that to be a desirable location myself. Like they got a lot of work to do.
Tennessee, you're saying?
Yeah, we saw that Titans offensive line when they played against the Raiders, even though they fired their O-line coach immediately after that and brought someone else in. Like they just don't have that much. So I would rather go Falcons. I think the Ravens are the undisputed top job. And I would take the Giants just because I think they got something there with Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterboo. It's not to say Cam Scatterboo is the future. I think you can find a much better running back when you have Cam Scatterboo as the backup eventually.
Yeah.
But they got something to work with too, along with Malik Neighbors. I think Jackson Dart's going to be a very good quarterback if they can find a coach who can keep him out of trouble. But yeah, I think bar none, far and away, the Ravens are the most desirable. However, if the Bills lose and they fire Sean McDermott, that would probably be the top dog. But do you really want to go to Buffalo? It would be cool opening it up in a new stadium and officially ushering in that new era. Whereas, I don't know. What's the other team? Like, there's got to be one other team out there. The Eagles, that team?
No. I think people are too down on the Eagles right now. They just won the Super Bowl a year ago. I think, despite what we think of Nick Sirianni, Jeffrey Lurie really likes him. I think Howie Roseman likes him too. I think the players like him as well, even though he's not that offensive play caller that he was built up to be when he left the Colts as offensive coordinator. I think the Bills definitely could fire Sean McDermott if he loses this game against the Jags. And I think Baltimore is hands down the most attractive job just because of the quarterback. I think the difference between head coaches and players when they're free agents, weather doesn't really matter to coaches. I don't think John Harbaugh is going to go to the Dolphins just because it's sunny. I think that he wants to go to the best possible place to win. And who cares if it's cold in Buffalo? That's a great environment. And you got not hands down, but arguably the best quarterback in football and a really good chance to win a Super Bowl. So if Buffalo became available, that's number one to me. I know that some people, like my initial reaction when Harbaugh was fired was, well, that's a perfect spot for Robert Saleh in Baltimore. I don't know if they'll go that route. I think that, and I don't know if Robert Saleh is going to be able to land Mike McDaniel. I think McDaniel has an opportunity to be a head coach again. Or I think the best possible place for him to be offensive coordinator would be with the Lions, where he already, I guess, is going to have an interview with them. That makes total sense. Strong running game with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and then everything that Mike McDaniel did with the quick passing game could work with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams. I thought that maybe the Commanders would be a good spot too, but they already hired David Blau, and I'm sure Dan Quinn wanted to hire McDaniel or Brian Dable, but they're going with David Blau for whatever reason. I'm sure Jaden Daniels was upset with that one. As far as Kingsbury being fired and then them getting Blau to appease him, I think that the Ravens are probably going to go with Jesse Minter, who is the Chargers defensive coordinator and was with the Ravens for a long ass time. I think that the Ravens have been upset that other guys have left the organization, actual coordinators, play callers, and have had success elsewhere, where Mike McDonald went to the Seahawks and now they're the number one seed in the NFC. Jesse Minter has turned the Chargers defense around. I'm sure they want him. But I don't know. I honestly, this is the not the craziest coaching carousel.
That's what I was about to say. Like, it
But
felt like last year it was pretty clear and obvious that Ben Johnson, Mike Vrabel, and Liam Cohen were the top coaching guys. Like, who are they going to go to? You're all going to be fighting for them. Whereas this year, you have a few. I mean, you have a few coordinators out there, but really, I don't know. Like, I got to be honest, dude. I don't know who would be the best fit for what teams. You're way more dialed into that stuff than I am.
Yeah, I
like how Tim's in the chat, by the way. Tim's up here saying that he's a big
my guy Tim from Dirty Work.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Nice. What's up, Tim?
Yeah. Tim's got the fat guy in a little coat as his profile picture, and
he loves himself some Chris Farley. Yeah.
I'm a big. I think Tim's voice. Tim's got like that old school announcer voice whenever he goes on to give like his Tuesday takes, or really whenever he hops on, it makes me laugh.
Well, hello, friends. Yeah, he has that. Whenever we start doing, or when he starts doing the trends, he always refers to it as cheese ding because he kind of does like in a cheesy voice.
Yeah.
So he'll always be like, before he gets on the mic, he'll just do, hello, San Francisco. 1, 2, 3, hello. And also, Tim stole my lupia yesterday. We had a fan bring some lupia for me and Cokes. He stole it. God damn you, Tim.
No, you didn't steal it, Tim. He just didn't eat it quick enough. There's a difference.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't want to bring that lupia on Bart. As everyone knows in the chat, if you give me something in public, that's nice, but I need a carrying case to take it home. Anyway,
lupia carrier.
Yeah, and also
well-known lupia carrier.
Yeah, and also like being on Bart for a solid hour. I don't know how the lupia would have been after that. A little lumpy, maybe.
Lumpy lupia.
Yeah, there you go.
I love a little lump of lupia. Lumpy lupia.
Yeah, there you go. As far as Harbaugh. The coaching vacancies here in the offseason. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I think a year ago was pretty clear. Ben Johnson. I mean, we knew right away when Gerard Mayo was fired from the Patriots that Mike Vrabel was going to go there. Ben Johnson, we thought was going to go to the Raiders, and then he went to the Bears. But it was always rumored that he really wanted to go. He really wanted the Chicago job. I think I would be surprised if Harbaugh didn't go to the Giants. But after that, I have no idea. I think that it could be anywhere and anyone for any job. I think it's ridiculous how many coaching openings we have right now, because I don't think some of these guys should have been fired. But it just goes to show you, like, no matter what, there's always going to be change. Like, even if you think, like, okay, I can't possibly see this guy getting axed after 1 season or 18 seasons, there's always going to be a fair amount of head coaching openings. So as far as the Raiders, a year ago, we knew that Brady really wanted Ben Johnson, and I guess the name that's been most attached to the job right now is Brian Flores, but I think that's more by the media. I think that Tom Brady still wants that offensive play caller. I think he wants a Ben Johnson type. So just given the openings, I do think it's possible they can get Kevin Stefanski. I think, like, when you look at the other openings, do coaches want to be forced to make it work with a quarterback? Like, is Cam Ward in the same boat as Caleb Williams a year ago where you want that job because of him? I'm not so sure. And then with the Dolphins, like, do you like the fact that you're starting all over again and have to find that quarterback? Same thing with Arizona, where they're telling you we don't want Tua and we don't want Kyler Murray. Is the Raiders a good landing spot because Kevin Stefanski doesn't have to be forced to do anything? He doesn't, like, they can talk about who the quarterback is, as opposed to going to a spot where the guy is young but not proven. You have to make it work
also,
with a Jackson Dart or a Cam Ward.
And then to add on to that, though, like, let's not take the quarterback. Who was the best player on the Browns offense when Kevin Stefanski was a 2-time coach of the year?
Say again, sorry.
Who was the best player on offense when Kevin Stefanski was the 2-time coach of the year with the Browns? Nick Chubb is the answer. And
okay,
I think I think Ashton Genty being on the Raiders, that might entice Kevin Stefanski more than these other coaches. Okay, I don't know about these quarterbacks. Like, I could see him saying this. I don't know about these quarterbacks, but you know what? You got a running back, an offensive line that absolutely needs to be reworked, but I'm going to die on this hill, actually. I'm not going to just sit here and have this, this blanket statement that the Raiders offensive line was bad because the players suck. No, I'm going to be looking at Brendan Carroll, and I think that if they're bringing in a new offensive line coach, that it's not going to be as discombobulated as it was this year.
It can't be that simple, though, man. It can't be that simple.
I think so. It can't.
Really?
Why can't it be that simple? Tell me why.
because Ben Johnson knew right away that his offensive line with Chicago was terrible, so he just totally revamped it quickly. I think that that's the same thing with the Raiders. I think their offensive line is terrible.
Colton Miller and Jackson Powers Johnson were hurt for most of the year.
Those guys are good.
DJ Glaze, lost cause. Not going to work.
I'm with you on that. I think that Jackson Powers Johnson and Colton Miller are still really good offensive linemen, and they were hurt for the majority of the season. I'm with you on that one. If they come back and they're healthy, they're fine.
I think they can work. I think I have to have faith in John Spytek, but I said it on the last podcast. I'm going to say it again. You got to focus on building the offensive line before anything. You're probably going to get Fernando Mendoza with the number 1 overall pick. You're going to have to pick the litter when it comes to quarterbacks, but fix the offensive line. And I do think one off season, I'm not going to say they're elite. Okay. I'm not going to say that's going to be back to the 2017 Raiders where Kelechi Osemele and Donald Penn and Gabe Jackson. Who else am I missing from that team? I guess Colton Miller was there, right? Or was that later? That was
that was later. That was 2018. Yeah,
it was 2018. Whatever. I'm Austin Howard. I guess he was the right tackle at the time.
Yeah.
I'm blanking.
God, that was a good offensive line.
Yeah, they were so good. Kelechi
Osemele, Kelechi Osemele.
So I think they can at least make it a decent group. You know. I mean, they hit rock bottom. Like, that's as bad of an offensive line as we've ever seen. Not just with the Raiders, but like almost all time.
It was 2006 status.
I'm not going to say all time because, like, the hell do I know? Yeah, let me just go and backtrack on all the all-time worst offensive line and let's stack the Raiders up against them. I just can't imagine there would be a worse one than what we saw this season. That product was god-awful.
I don't know, dude. 2006 was pretty bad, but this one's right up there.
But point is, if you bring Kevin Stefanski along, I think there's that little tinge of hope that he might be able to have, as if I know Kevin Stefanski. And also, just apropos of nothing, the salt and pepper facial hair, it'd work perfectly with the silver and black.
I agree with that one. I think the best thing for the Raiders this offseason would be if John Harbaugh goes to the Giants and the Giants are not able to get Stefanski. I don't know if he's going to look at that Miami job and think, ooh, I want that, or Atlanta. I might be naive here. I do think there's a way for the Raiders to get Kevin Stefanski. I don't think it's just like, oh, it's a bad organization and who wants to go there. I do think there's appeal with the first overall pick, and I think that some coaches will look at the opportunity to start over again, not have to babysit a quarterback, or you get to handpick it yourself is what I'm saying. And I don't know if Kevin Stefanski sees a great quarterback in Fernando Mendoza or whoever he wants to pick with the first overall pick, but I don't know. I think there's an opportunity there. I think that I do think John Harbaugh is going to end up going to the Giants. I don't see him going to the Miami Dolphins. And whoever the Dolphins job, that one's a mystery to me where I have no idea who's going to get the Dolphins head coaching job. Yeah. I think that it has to be kind of an intriguing name. Now they have to replace a great coach at Mike McDaniel, but I don't know. I feel like that's like a very, desirable job because of the location, but quarterback wise and salary cap wise, you could be screwed for a little bit of time.
Totally.
Where Stefanski could see John Spytek as a really good football mind, a good talent evaluator. He's got Tom Brady there to help him out. And honestly, I think Kevin Stefanski would be able to pick and choose what he wants as far as not pick and choose. I shouldn't say that, but it'd be more of a collaborative effort than what was going on with Cleveland, where I don't think Mark Davis is the type of owner to be like, I want Deshaun Watson. I want him right now, damn it. And I'm going to trade 3 first-round picks to get him and a fully guaranteed contract. And Kevin Stefanski's like, I want to do that. I want to do that, Jimmy, or Mark, in this situation. He's like, well, too damn bad. And if we don't win, you're the scapegoat. Yeah, I think that Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry had a good relationship, but I think that Kevin Stefanski was just pushed into situations that he didn't want to be a part of.
Yeah,
and that's why he got axed. So I think with the Raiders, it would be where Stefanski has more of a say. I think that was intriguing to Ben Johnson at one point, where he was going to get the money and carte blanche to do whatever he wants, the power of basically running that organization with John Spytek. But in the end, he was like, I can't pass up an opportunity to coach Caleb Williams.
Sure.
And that team has a lot of talent. I'd be stupid to pass that up. With Kevin Stefanski, there's the Dolphins' talent's going to go away. I don't know if they can afford all these guys. I don't think Tyreek Hill's coming back. We'll see about Jalen Waddle, if they may trade him, or Devon A-Chain. They may start from scratch. Everywhere else, yeah, Atlanta has a good defense, but how long are you going to have Kirk Cousins? It sounds like he's going to bolt in the offseason, and then who's playing quarterback for you until Michael Penix comes back? That's probably the best landing spot to win because that division sucks. But if you want full control, and I think sometimes these coaches rather have control than a good team. We saw that with Sean Payton a couple years ago. I think Kevin Stefanski could look at the Raiders' job and be like, you know what? That's not a bad landing spot for me. I think it's feasible that he could end up as their head coach.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's pretty feasible that anyone could be a head coach anywhere. Depends on the interviews. It's more, I think the Raiders are less like, what can you do for us? And instead are more, what can we do for you at this point? Because they don't have much of a culture built. They don't have anything. They don't have the groundwork laid out.
And you know what? That might be enticing to a Kevin Stefanski, who it was kind of a similar situation, not with the Browns when he got hired, where
they were 6-10 before the year before. So
yeah,
they weren't as bad as the Raiders were.
No, they weren't. But Freddie Kitchens was, a mess, and they had Baker Mayfield, and the team had a ton of talent. It was just not living up to expectations. So he turned it around instantly. Where I think that he could look at the Raiders, as you said, Steven, Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, Max Crosby, if he's going to be on the roster. John Spytek kind of left the door open on that one. I don't know. I really don't know what to expect. I've gone from, I think Brian Flores could be the coach, Robert Saleh, Clint Kubiak, to Kevin Stefanski. I would say my number one option right now would be Stefanski.
Yeah.
I don't think John Harbaugh is going to the Raiders. I don't think that he would think that's appealing to play his brother twice a year and have to play Mahomes twice a year. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that Brian Flores might be the most feasible option because I don't think that a lot of teams are going to go after him because of the lawsuit a couple years ago. And Brian Flores has the connection to Tom Brady. He could get Brian Dable as his offensive coordinator, but then I remember that whole weird thing. Not that I don't think this would stop him from hiring Dable as his OC, but do you remember when Flores released that text message exchange with Bill Belichick?
Yeah.
And Belichick texted him saying, "Hey, Brian, congrats on the Giants job." And he goes, I think you're texting Brian Dable right now, coach." He goes, shit, I fucked up. My bad. So, yeah, I think there's an opportunity for Stefanski, but I'll be completely honest. The only one I think is guaranteed is John Harbaugh going to the Giants. Everything else, I have no idea what's going to happen. No idea.
Yeah, it's a crapshoot.
Now, I don't think Kurt Cignetti is going to be a head coach in the NFL either. I saw some people throwing that one out there, and I'm like, I don't see it. I think he's the perfect college coach. I think he's the perfect CEO coach of a college team. If he went to an NFL team, what's his expertise? That's the difference in college as opposed to the NFL, where they do value the leader of men guy more than the play caller type, unless you're Lane Kiffin, and that's going to be his MO with the LSU Tigers.
Yeah.
But if I heard more so that like the offensive coordinators of the Indiana Hoosiers would be more inclined to get offensive coordinator jobs in the NFL as opposed to Kurt Cignetti getting the head coaching job. But they're really impressive right now. I was texting some people that know college football way more than me, and I was like, how are they getting these players? How are they getting the NIL money to beat Big Ten teams? And they're in the Big Ten conference now, but that's a big change. To beat SEC teams a week ago against Alabama, and everybody's like, they don't really have the NIL money. They got good players. They didn't need to go out and say like, we'll pay you this amount of money. They got Fernando Mendoza to come over. It's just a damn dominant team right now. A damn good dominant team, I should say. And as far as Fernando Mendoza, I mean, last night, what was the final? 56-22, whatever it was. Just a ass kicking of Oregon, where they beat him in the regular season in Oregon, and the rematch last night was no contest. Yeah. And Fernando Mendoza finishes 17 of 20 for 177 yards and 5 touchdown passes, where a week ago he was like 192 with 3 touchdown passes over Alabama. This is not hyperbolic, and I'm not saying that he is in the same tier as this guy or going to be the same type of prospect when it comes to the draft, but I don't think we've seen a quarterback dominate like this since Joe Burrow in a college football playoff format. He is playing damn good right now. I just wonder, is he a slam dunk first overall pick? I know everybody last night, Raider fans were watching, being like, it's a done deal. I had you, sorry, not you, but I had Rick Tittle text us on a text exchange with a meme of Tom Brady, Mark Davis, and John Spytek all like eating popcorn. I had Aram, our guy who's in the chat sometimes, send me the same image. I think fans right away are like, this is the guy. This is the Raiders, first overall pick, the face of the franchise. But I don't know if he's a generational talent. So that's the one thing where I'm like, I don't know, but he was damn good last night.
I'm not going to use last night's game as a barometer. He spent half the time in basically Oregon's own 40-yard line because it was just nonstop turnovers, interceptions, fumbles. I think there were 3 of them in the first half. And so I don't know. I mean, last night he was great, but I don't want to use it as like a barometer there. Like, I think that's exactly how a top tier quarterback should expect to perform when the other team is just giving you chances time after possession after possession. So I don't know. I'm not going to read too much into last night's game. It was just Oregon was terrible, you know? And I mean, Mendoza was making all the throws, but his wide receivers were also making all the catches. They're just really in sync right now. I'm still in the camp that he needs to be in the right system in order to thrive. He's not going to be just a quarterback that, to me, he's just not going to be a quarterback who turns a franchise around solo. Like, that's what many thought Cam Ward was when they expected him to be selected number 1 overall, and they were just a way below average team. So I don't really buy into that, and I'm not going to read into last night's game thinking that he is.
Yeah, me neither. I think that it was a really good performance last night, but he definitely needs the proper coaching with him. He needs an offensive play caller. He would need a Kevin Stefanski or a Clint Kubiak type, and that's really been the case for the last few first overall selections. Like, Cam Ward wasn't a generational talent. He was just a damn good quarterback. So that's why he went first overall. But he's not the type of quarterback, in my opinion, that's going to elevate a franchise. I think that he needs a good coach to help him out there. Where Josh Allen is that guy. Mahomes is that guy. Lamar Jackson's that guy. And I don't think that we've seen that lately. I think that, Caleb Williams was supposed to be that guy, but I think we're seeing that he needs the proper coaching in order for him to be a successful quarterback at the next level.
Yeah.
So I think Fernando Mendoza is kind of in the same class as a Cam Ward, where he'll be solid. He just needs the right guy with him. And maybe that's the case for the Raiders, just to get the right quarterback. But I am thinking, we talked about it last podcast, are they getting this first overall pick just a year too early? Like, it's good that they have it because they need him. And Fernando Mendoza's solid, really good. Probably should be the first overall pick. But if you're looking for a guy to win you Super Bowls, I know I'm going to sound biased here. I don't think it's any question. I think that you ask most college football fans and just, scouts in general, the grades on Fernando Mendoza are like 4th round, 3rd round, but he's just that electric in the postseason right now. He's going to be elevated to 1st round, if not the first overall pick. But when you, as far as like generational talent, and I know that he struggled this year, I think that most people are going to tell you that Arch Manning is going to be that guy. He's going to have the capabilities of a Josh Allen. And I think that if this is 2027 and the Raiders have the first overall pick, what are we talking about? I think it's going to be Arch Manning. But with Fernando Mendoza, because he's more Brock Purdy than Josh Allen, that's where some people are like, I don't know. I don't know if that's the right call there.
Yeah.
And I think we read too much into that sometimes, where it's not about the scouting combine. It's about what you do on the practice field and NFL games. But I don't know, there is a part of me that's like, are they missing out where this generational quarterback could be available in 2027?
Yeah. I mean, there's a chance. But I've also told you, I'm indifferent to it.
Yeah.
Like AJ says, if the Raiders draft Mendoza, they're going to ruin him, which with any other team, I would say that's not fair. But with the Raiders, how can I push back on that? Really? Like, they have to prove to me that they're a capable team that could hone a number 1 overall pick's talents. They haven't shown that yet.
Yeah.
They just haven't.
No, they haven't. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt if they get the right coach in place, but I'm with you. I'm like right away, like after watching last night, I'm not a Dante Moore guy. I think that he has a ton of talent, but I wouldn't draft him first overall next year. And that seems like a bad situation where the first three teams of the draft, Raiders, Jets, Cardinals, they all need quarterbacks, and they're going to reach on some. So the Jets probably take Dante Moore. I don't know, Ty Simpson to the Cardinals. I don't know about Ty Simpson. Need to evaluate him a little bit more. But Dante Moore seems like he needs a lot of grooming,
Sure.
and I can see the Jets just throwing him into the fire and that not working out right away. But as far as Fernando Mendoza, say what you will about him on the playing field with a mic in his face, the man has cheesy charisma.
This the team and the program to make that possible?
Yeah, first, I want to give all the glory to God. I mean, the defense played fantastic. 28 points off of turnovers. The Hoggies always spectacular. And the man up above, did so much for us today. And it's helped myself and our entire team play such a high level. Like you said, it's homecoming for myself going to Miami. What a better story. However, Mario Cristobal and the Hurricanes, fantastic team. They have great leadership, and they're extremely tough on defense. It's going to be a great matchup.
You grew up just down the street from Miami's campus. Your dad played ball with Mario. What excites you about the opportunity to not just play at home, but to play against the Hurricanes?
Yeah, I think playing any national championship is fantastic. And it means a little bit more to me. I used to be able to walk to University of Miami, used to play rec basketball games there or beach volleyball on the sand courts, and to live under a mile away, it means a lot to myself. However, really excited for the city of Miami to get the opportunity as well, and just can't wait to play in Hard Rock Stadium.
Fernando, however,
your
Mendoza.
family, your mom, your parents.
It means a lot. It means the world, and I couldn't have done this without God. And this is just such a great opportunity for my entire team. Like Pat Coogan said, we're a bunch of misfits. There's 0 5-stars on our team. We're just a bunch of gritty guys who are glued together and going towards a common goal, which is to win each and single game.
We haven't seen a program turn things around this quickly, maybe ever. How would you describe what's taking place at Indiana?
It's a collaborative effort, and with a strong culture, you can accomplish anything. We have a strong culture in the locker room, in the coaching staff, and the entire support staff and administration. With those three things, it's great synergy in our program, and that's our head of the national championship.
Congratulations. Best of luck.
Thanks so much. God bless.
Okay, I just figured it out. I'm like, who does he sound like? He sounds like somebody in the media. If you play that clip one more time, Steven, and close your eyes, and I tell you that's John Morosi, would you believe it? Like a younger John Morosi playing quarterback.
Yeah, a little bit.
He sounds like John Morosi.
Yeah, I can hear that. It's just he'd have to ask. That's a great question. That's a great question.
Great question, and we're out there playing 110%. I can also see the Giants making a big-time move for, a second baseman, but we'll see about that one.
I'll start speaking in Spanish. Mendoza gives me such Kirk Cousins vibes, even with his play too. Like a little bit with his play as well. Like
yeah.
He's
definitely in the Brock Purdy, Kirk Cousins, Mac Jones camp where
I don't put Brock Purdy in there even. Like Purdy's got this smoother way about him where it doesn't look like again like he's putting that much force with the ball. Like it's just like, oh my God, he almost makes it look effortless. Whereas with Indiana, like or with Mendoza, there was a few plays yesterday where he was making them with his legs, and it reminds me so much of Kirk. I don't know, where it looks like it's just all effort with his play.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, just very reminiscent of that. And it's just a guy that you feel bad for maybe, making fun of a little bit because
no,
he's so genuinely kind. It's like,
look, it's the NFL. It's a room full of men. He's going to get, I'm sure he gets teased at Indiana right now. Especially on the Raiders, where there's a certain image when it comes to their players, and that image has died. Like the days of Fred Biletnikoff and Kenny Stabler going to Jack London Square and getting into fights with Hell's Angels. Like that's not happening. Nobody on the Raiders is doing that. Even Max Crosby, who's a tough son of a bitch, he's not doing that type of shit.
Yeah.
We knew that Derek Carr was kind of cheesy and corny, but he still was kind of one of the dudes. And not to say that Fernando Mendoza can't be that guy, but I'm kind of with Pat H in the chat here, where he's given Russell Wilson a run for cornball of the year. Yeah, I'm kind of with that. He is kind of corny, but whatever. I mean, as long as he plays well, that's fine. I think his style. You're right, Steven. Like, really, Kirk Cousins and Mac Jones are more similar than Brock Purdy. He is more Brock Purdy to me, where he's so decisive with the football.
Yeah.
And knows when to use his legs. The question is, as it is with Brock Purdy, is all the talent around him. Is he that great of a quarterback on his own?
Right.
And I don't know about that. But you know what? In today's NFL, who cares? Everybody needs a good supporting cast. Everybody needs a good play caller. So I think that doesn't really matter anymore to me.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So, yeah, if you're asking me, like, we'll get another college football season with Arch Manning, and I'm sure he'll show why he's going to be the first overall pick. And that's where, I mean, for the Raiders, it's like, you're not going to draft Jamarcus Russell again because this guy's totally the antithesis of Jamarcus Russell. But I don't know. I don't know if he's the guy. There's a whole combine. There's a whole draft process we'll go through. But I'm not going to go overboard just because last night was an incredible performance where I'm like, he's the guy. He's a slam dunk, no-brainer first overall pick. I'm not so sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and AJ, he is Cuban. Yeah. Grew up in Miami.
He is Cuban, yes. All right. Let's talk about these wildcard games, Steven. And let's start with, well, we'll pick the games, but let's go over the 49ers and Eagles. I'll start, well, actually, before we do that, you got any hot sauce, Steven? Because you've got to do it last Monday. I'm not going to forget again.
Yeah, I got it.
All right. You don't need to get angry. It's part of the thing.
Huh?
You don't need to get upset. It's part of the deal.
I know.
I've been talking about this game all week long and talking about it every which way. The
you talk meatballs?
What's up?
You talk meatballs?
Meatballs?
Yeah, then you haven't talked it every which way. You haven't found the key angle, Derek.
Please, while you eat that hot sauce, tell me about the meatballs, Steven.
Listen here, man.
Meatball, spaghetti underneath. Ravioli, Greek barrier reef.
You sports radio guys, you think that you cover every angle, but you really don't, you know?
What are you talking about? You're one too. You're on every day.
Not sports radio. This is news radio, my friend.
Not the same. You do sports news radio.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing.
So what are the meatballs? To enlighten me, Steven.
This has nothing to do with the 49ers. I think what's interesting about this team or this matchup is you have a team that's been playing with all heart, where seemingly the head coach has kind of proven to be one of the best in the NFL. You know, you've been doing it where your offense is scoring at a higher output than anybody. Whereas, like, diametrically opposing that, the Eagles, where it seems like every year, the perfect way I saw it put, I forgot who said this, but it's like the Eagles are having an identity crisis this year where they just don't know who they are. And I think that's what makes this just a fascinating matchup. Among the other things, like it's clear that the bad blood, I don't know if like George Kittle and Kyle Juszczyk don't really mean it when they say like, I'm not going to dwell on that. Like that was just another time. That's going to cloud like what I have in front of me if I'm going to dwell on our past hatred of each other.
The NFC Championship game you're talking about?
What's that?
The NFC Championship game you're talking about?
NFC Championship, the offseason that led to it, and then the regular season game too, where just everyone was all talking shit, barking back and forth. It was just a whole thing. They're not going to dwell on it. I don't think there's much to it. But the Bryce Huff thing, absolutely. Bryce Huff's not very outspoken, but the way that Jordan Mailata put it, where he was just asked, do you think Bryce Huff is going to be a little more juiced up for this game? Then Mailata responded by saying, oh, yeah, mate. Super Bowl champion Bryce Huff. It's my teammate, mate.
Yeah.
So I think there's that. So I think there's some of the bad blood there.
And if people don't remember, he was inactive for that game.
He was
after
inactive.
being a big time free agent signing that offseason.
And I'm sure Mailata read the thing where, he hasn't opened his Super Bowl ring yet. He keeps it in his locker because he counts it as a participation trophy and he doesn't even care about it. All right. Cheers. However,
meatballs.
A lot of the I don't have any water.
It's good. Keep it going. Keep
raw dogging it.
Ooh.
So we talk a lot about the Eagles and their dysfunction. A lot of that's on the offensive side.
Of course, 100% it is.
Kevin Passulo, the dynamic with Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, starting to saliva, the spit's coming up a little bit.
Yep.
Saquon Barkley in the regression where he's like 10th in rushing yards and I think 21st in rushing touchdowns this year among running backs. There's just a lot going on with the offense, but on the defensive side, I haven't seen any of that. Like, that's the thing, is I don't think the dysfunction spills to the entire team.
No.
And how do I confirm that? It's because of meatballs. And shout out to Tim McManus, who wrote this piece for ESPN. What drives the Eagles defense? Meatballs. I'm not going to read the whole article, but I'm going to sum it up. Vic Fangio has been given out a meatball of the week to the defense, or a meatball award to the defensive player of the week each week. He has a secret recipe that was passed down from generation to generation from his grandparents in 1919 to his mom and to him. He has the recipe for the meatballs laminated. He does a meatball award, explained Perry Nickerson. I heard they're pretty fire. It was his old school, hard-nosed defensive coordinator. Wait, hang on. You know what? I'll just read the top of this article.
Go for it.
Defensive end Brandon Graham has just about seen it all over his 16-year career, but his first defensive meeting after deciding to unretire in late October was a first even for him. I was like, man, what is this? It was his old school, hard-nosed defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, who started the session by gifting defensive tackle Jalen Carter a dish of meatballs over pasta in a brown paper bag.
Nice.
So he gives out meatballs, Derek. He has these homemade meatballs where he makes them in bulk, 60 to 75 at a time. And to whoever has the best defensive game, they eat the meatballs. And where's one of my favorite quotes down here? Presentation might be lacking, but the reviews are pretty solid. They're good meatballs, Cooper DeJean said. The sauce is good. I don't really know how to judge meatballs, I guess, but they were good.
Oh. Yeah. Good. Sorry, go ahead.
Brandon Graham gave him a 7 out of 10. And then Adoree Jackson, this was the one. It's like an unspoken thing. I don't want to say you play for the meatballs, but if you do well, it's a good thing because it's recognized by everybody. Everybody claps it up. It's one of those things because not just your coaches, but your brothers out there on the field get to see the hard work put in. I heard they were good, but I don't want to try them until I get them. That's one of those things I harp myself on. That's for them. You might offer it to me, cool, but I didn't get that motherfucker.
Well, I will say, I'll be surprised if Adoree Jackson gets his hands on one of those meatballs, because if there's one weak link in that defense, it's him.
Yeah. But anyway, the meatball award. So just watch out for the Eagles defense that's fueled by meatballs.
Well, dude, I mean, Philly has a big Italian community, and I believe Fangio is a fellow Paisan. And when it comes to meatballs, look, I'm a snob on a few things. I got to find a good bagel. This is my Jewish and Italian side coming through. You can't just give me any type of bagel. You have to give me a good New York bagel. If you give me like I'll throw them under the bus here, a Noah's bagel, not good enough. I need like a good, authentic New York bagel. With meatballs, I don't mind saying this, my mom is not good at making meatballs. And for years I told her that. And she tried her damnedest to find good recipes, but she just can't do it. You got to be really like hardcore Italian to make good meatballs. And my grandma, God rest her soul, can make the best meatballs in the world. And she's old school Italian from the old country. Well, she's not from the old country, but her family was from there. So if Vic Fangio is making these like authentic Italian meatballs, then I understand why the players are playing hard for him, because you want those meatballs. And yeah, I believe people in the chat here are right, where Big Dom is definitely trying to eat those meatballs.
No doubt.
AJ Cruz said I'm a snob on a lot of things. That's not true. It's not true. Maybe it is. I don't know. As far as this matchup,
someone tried to feed you breakfast, and it's like, hey, we brought Noah's bagels. You're like, No, I need a better bagel than that.
Yeah. No, dude. I remember 95.7, they brought Noah's bagels in for one day, and I'm like, I can't do it, man. Noah's bagels, not good enough. Not good enough when it comes to bagels. So for this matchup, I don't think the past two matchups have any relevancy for this. The 2022 NFC Championship game, the 2023 regular season meeting, they're totally different teams.
Yeah.
And the Eagles defense is totally different from what we saw that day, where I remember I was breaking it down with you of all the reasons why the 49ers were going to win that game. And for some reason, I took the Eagles, where I was like, their linebacking core sucks for the Eagles right now. They got Nicholas Morrow, who's their best middle linebacker right now, and they're going to pick apart that linebacking core because they got McCaffrey, they got Deebo Samuel. They don't have guys that can wrap up and tackle. It's different now. But one interesting thing about this matchup is, Steven, let me know if you do the same thing. I kind of judge how I'm going to go in an NFL playoff game based off of the QB and head coach combination. And usually, if the head coach and QB is better than the opposing side, I'm going with them for the game. But this game's an anomaly where I would definitely take Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy over Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. But because the Eagles are such a good overall team, I'm leaning in their direction. But do you agree where, like, usually when you pick a game, it's based off of the QB and head coach?
I would say so, but that's also because it's easier. It's easier to do.
Then actually break it down. Yeah.
You got 22 other guys, or you got 21 other guys on the field, and you got a bunch of other guys on the sideline, but it's easiest just to say, oh yeah, head coach and quarterback are better, so I'm going to judge the playoffs that way. Usually it comes true. Like, that's what we've been doing with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to let them down? But also, you throw Steve Spagnuolo into that. I would like to throw Robert Saleh into that, but Saleh doesn't have the talent right now.
No.
I don't know what D. Winter's status is, but it didn't sound like he practiced yesterday. He's probably not going to play. Eric Kendricks, there was a reason that he was a free agent. Like, why was a 2019 All-Pro just sitting there for anyone's taking? It's because, well, he's just not the same player that he was anymore, and that's okay. He's, 33 years old or whatever he is, which is pretty much our age. So, like, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
And the defensive line, I mean, Bryce Huff is going to go out there and, he's going to have his hair on fire because he feels like the Eagles slighted him. And I think Jordan Mailata really added to that. But the fact that they're getting Lane Johnson back, I think, changes everything.
Yep.
So it's hard to look at this game and say that it's on the coaches and the quarterbacks when, God, it's just seeing what the Seahawks did. It wasn't so much about their quarterback, who kept them in the game and didn't turn the ball over, but it was about the scheme. And to me, it was about the running backs. Like, that's what it was.
Yeah.
To me, where you saw the game Christian McCaffrey had, and you compare that to the game that Zach Charbonnet had and Kenneth Walker, both in that backfield, whereas it seemed like they couldn't get anything going with Brian Robinson and Christian McCaffrey. And I think that kind of trickled to the wide receivers and just not really having a threat over the middle of the field, which is where Brock Purdy, I think, is excellent as a quarterback. Yeah, I think this game is more than just coaching quarterback game.
I agree too. I just think like that's usually I kind of gauge things when it comes to a matchup. But there's so much more to this. And yes, the Eagles are kind of in the same situation as the Seahawks, where they don't need their quarterback to play great in order to win because the team is so loaded. Same thing with the Broncos. I think it's where the Eagles, the Seahawks, and the Broncos all win in spite of their quarterback sometimes. You saw it last week with Sam Darnold. You saw it with Bo Nix a week ago, too, where they won that game 19-3. Even though Jalen Hurts is Super Bowl MVP, they win because of Saquon Barkley and the receiving core and that defense, and he is just able to benefit off of that. He's a really talented quarterback, but he's not in the same tier as a Brock Purdy, in my opinion. I think that was evident this year, where in years past, I probably would have put Jalen Hurts above Brock Purdy just because of individual achievements, but the way that Brock Purdy commands a game and plays the position is just on a higher level than Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I think that Brock Purdy sees the field 10 times better than Jalen Hurts does. So I was surprised this week. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I respect the hell out of Brian Baldinger, but he was on WIP this week, and he was asked the same question when it comes to QB and head coach combination. Who has the edge here? And he said, no question, it's Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. You have two guys that have been there, done that, won the actual Super Bowl, and guys that have, been the bridesmaids, haven't actually won it. And I'm like, yeah, it's not that simple, though. But I understand what he's saying. I totally understand what he's saying there. But just as far as the matchup here, yeah, look, win or lose, the 49ers have had a fantastic season. I don't think you take anything away from them for what they've accomplished. And you ask John Lynch, you ask Kyle Shanahan, they're not going to tell you honestly, like we didn't think this team was going to win, but I don't think they thought this team was going to be 12-5, have the same record as 2023. They're not as dominant, but they just find ways to win. They're resilient, and it's going to make them that much better next season. I truly believe that. But with all the injuries on defense, I know the Eagles' offense is not very good, but I think it's self-inflicted wounds, really. I don't think it's anything that defenses are doing. Like when it comes to shutting down Saquon, they're probably having the same blueprint as the Chiefs did a year ago to hold him to 59 yards rushing in the Super Bowl. And then they're just letting Jalen Hurts have to beat you. And Jalen Hurts hasn't had a good season. It's also the offensive line being banged up and not the same, and Lane Johnson being hurt, also Landon Dickerson. They lost Mekhi Becton as well. But it's also, I think, the scheme of Kevin Patullo. I don't think he's a very good offensive mind. He was a good pass game coordinator for the Eagles a year ago. But to lead the entire offense, he's lacking there. It's just a very simplistic offense. They don't even do the tush push that much anymore. They're trying to give the ball to Saquon Barkley on the goal line. But I don't think Saquon's lost a step. I think that it's just he's getting bottled up, and it's the effects of rushing for 2,000 yards. You see at times this season, the game against the Giants and Chargers, he's able to bust big runs and go, for like a 65-yard touchdown. If you're comparing the two running backs, it's different where Saquon is an electric player and Christian McCaffrey does everything as far as basically a wide receiver playing running back. I do think that the 49ers have opportunities to score points in this game, more so than against the Seahawks, but this Eagles defense is damn good. Like, they, at every level, the defensive line with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, their linebackers are 10 times better than what they had 2 years ago. Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean, even the rookie Jahad Campbell, and their secondary, it's right up there with the Seahawks. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean at being shut down corners already in this league, already in their second season. Adoree Jackson's the weak link to me, where if you go after him, then you may have success there. But
Jalen Phillips too.
Yeah, Jalen Phillips. Yeah, I totally forgot about him as far as their pass rush.
Changing everything.
They have more home run hitters, where the Seahawks have a ton of guys that get after you, but like game wreckers like Nolan Smith and Jalen Phillips, Brandon Graham even being whatever he is, 38 years old, still effective getting the quarterback. Yeah, I don't think this is a good matchup for the 49ers, and I've been saying that all week. And, I think that I always give the 49ers a chance with Kyle Shanahan and Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy. You and I know very well what it's like to go into a playoff game with no chance. When the Raiders were, a wildcard team in 2016, Derek Carr gets hurt, Matt McGloin gets hurt, and then Connor Cook in his first ever game gets the start.
Yeah.
And there's no chance for him to win. No chance whatsoever. The Niners have a chance, but of course, if they have Fred Warner and Nick Bosa, it's a different story. They might be hosting this game if they're healthy. But with having Eric Kendricks as your starting middle linebacker and D. Winters being hurt, and Trent Williams sounds like he's going to play, but I don't think he's going to be at 100%, obviously. I just think that even though this is a big-time matchup with the two uniforms, the two franchises, I just think this is a depleted 49ers team that has been carried by their offense, but I think this defense has the capabilities of making it very hard on them.
And I've seen a little bit of this, Ernie, too. I'm not disagreeing with you. Obviously, the Niners are playing with house money because they weren't expected to be here, but isn't being the defending Super Bowl champions like the ultimate playing with house money card?
I would say there's more pressure on the Eagles because I
don't really think there's pressure on any team, honestly.
I would say with the Eagles and being the defending champions, like, let's be honest here. The Eagles are the better team. They are.
Sure.
They're the more talented team. They don't have any injuries, really. Lane Johnson's going to play in this game, and we'll see how effective he is. But they aren't taking a step back because they lost someone this year. It's self-inflicted wounds, in my opinion. And you can talk about all the dysfunction. I know that Mike Sando said this week that he's taking the 49ers because the Eagles are just too dysfunctional, in his opinion. Dysfunction was there a year ago, too, honestly. Like, we were going through playoff games where A.J. Brown was reading a goddamn book. So I think they're able to overcome that sometimes. They just don't have good leadership on their team. They don't have a Jason Kelsey anymore. They don't have a Fletcher Cox. They're just really damn good. They're just talented.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl again, but I do think that they're flying under the radar, which is crazy to say as the defending champions. Or I do think it's kind of like not that they are Patrick Mahomes, like Jalen Hurts is Patrick Mahomes by any means, or Nick Sirianni is Andy Reid. I kind of get like Warriors vibes where they won the Super Bowl a year ago. They're kind of lackadaisical in the regular season. They don't have to go all out on offense. They know their defense is that good, so they don't try to complete passes in the second half. And Nick Sirianni's banging his chest after wins in Buffalo, and A.J. Brown's like side-eye him, being like, this motherfucker serious right now? But I think it's kind of where, yeah, all we need is to get into the playoffs. We could be the third seed, and we feel comfortable against this banged-up 49er team. We feel comfortable against this Bears team. We know they beat us earlier this year, but they're inexperienced. We could beat the Packers. We feel comfortable going to Seattle. I really think that this Eagles team is just kind of like, yeah, we don't need to be the 1 seed anymore. We could just go in to be, we can just be the 3rd seed and we'll be fine.
Yeah. The word pressure kind of triggered me. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if there's any pressure on like any of these teams in the NFC. We're talking about pressure. Like it's probably the Seahawks because they're the 1 seed and they get home field advantage through the playoffs, and it should be their easiest road to the Super Bowl. But the 49ers, like, they were injury depleted, and as they're saying, we're playing with house money, and I don't disagree with that. The Eagles have already proven that they're going to win a Super Bowl, and they've been so dysfunctional anyway that Eagles fans don't even think they're going to win the game this week. The Rams have already proven themselves with Matthew Stafford, and we know they're just going to move forward with Sean McVay because they love him. Maybe the Packers, because the Packers just still haven't done anything with the combination of Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur. But the Bears, it seems like they're on the rise with Ben Johnson, and they're probably going to be in this position next year. Like, when I associate pressure, I associate it with teams who have been there before and just haven't been able to win. And I think that the pressure's on for really nobody in the NFC in that regard.
That's a very good take. But I would also say with winning, does pressure come with that? Like, the only teams that I think people have expectations for in the NFC are the Rams and Eagles because they have won before and they're damn good. So do those teams have pressure on themselves because of past success, or because they've already won? It doesn't matter anymore.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, even for Ernie too, he said, I'd say the Rams have pressure. Like, I don't know if they do because they've already won it.
Yeah, but to his point, though, the clock is ticking on Stafford. Sure. We don't know how much longer he's going to play. If he wins the Super Bowl, he might retire on the spot.
This could very well be like their last chance to do it. So in that case, sure. But yeah.
Yeah, that's... Sorry, go ahead.
You'll have very different definitions, I think, of what pressure means. There's no one singular thing where it's this all-encompassing, like, yeah, this is what we think about pressure. I think pressure has a lot of different definitions, and I define it by that. But it's like they haven't been able to win it, and they've been in this position before. Like, that's where I think pressure is. Like, I think the Bills just have an immense amount.
Yes,
like I was going to say.
I was going to say. So sorry. Go ahead.
Nah, it's just Josh Allen and Sean McDermott have been doing this for year after year, and it's like, imagine if they lose in the wild card round to a team that, let's just say, you're going back at the Levi Stadium game when the Jaguars played the Niners. No one expected the Jaguars to be, at this point where they're taking the South and they're hosting a playoff game.
Yeah, I would say if I had to give an answer on pressure, teams with the most pressure in the NFC, I would say Rams and Eagles, because everybody else could lose. You'd be like, all right, well, we're going to bet it for next season. Like the Packers, yes. If they were at full strength, then I think there's a ton of pressure on them. But the fact that they lost Tucker Kraft and Micah Parsons, I think that you have to chalk it up to this just being a lost season. It's unfortunate because they had a ton of potential, but the injuries got in the way. Same thing with the 49ers. Yeah. With the Rams and Eagles, if one of those two teams is not the NFC representative, then I think that it's a missed opportunity for both teams. I think that the Eagles probably see it as, all right, we just shot ourselves in the foot this year. With the Rams, it's like, yeah, how much longer we have this? Yeah. Where we got a talented team in Puka Nacua. Devontae Adams is on a 2-year deal, 1 year left. And then, yeah, Matthew Stafford, we just talked about maybe getting rid of him in the offseason, trading him to the Raiders or the Giants, and he had an all-time year, but they weren't able to capitalize on that, and the defense let them down. As far as the AFC, it's no question. Nobody has as much pressure as the Buffalo Bills. Yeah. You have young and upcoming teams with the Broncos and Patriots and Jags that can afford to lose, even the Texans, even the Chargers with their injuries on the offensive on the offensive line. But the Bills, man, not to say like this is the best Josh Allen team, But if they lose in the first round, yeah, I could see Sean McDermott getting axed. And it's kind of lazy just to say like, well, there's no Mahomes, there's no Lamar Jackson, there's no Joe Burrow for Josh Allen, but this might be the hardest test he's ever had to go on the road against those three teams potentially in the Jags, Broncos, and Patriots. So, yeah, I would say there's a ton of pressure on the Buffalo Bills, even though this is probably their weakest team. And Josh Palmer's not going to play in this game tomorrow. He was just ruled out. So, yeah, I say if there's one team with pressure,
Yeah.
it's the Buffalo Bills in the whole playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's something, I got to be honest, this first round, like overall, it doesn't excite me too much. I'm more excited for the divisional round, but
Of course,
I don't know.
yeah.
Like I'll watch it obviously, but Panthers, Rams, Bears, Packers, I think is actually going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah,
I think
I agree with that
rivalry that's involved with that.
Bills Jags is probably the best one to me.
Yeah, but like how many people are really itching to watch that one? Like I think at the time when
The quarterback
divisional
play,
round
I
was
would
going
say.
on, what?
Because of the quarterback play.
Sure. But like I have a feeling that people who are kind of more casual observers of the NFL don't know that Trevor Lawrence has just been on fire in these last few weeks.
Right.
So they're just like, Trevor Lawrence? Actually, Trevor Lawrence has been playing pretty good. And
Well, I'm sorry to piss off Liam Cohen here, but they are a small market team.
And then
Well, so are the Bills too, honestly.
Steelers, Texans. I'm probably watching the run for a legendary quarterback come to an end with that one in Pittsburgh. So
Yeah.
There's not a ton of intrigue for me for this weekend's games. Bills Jags is an interesting one, but other than that, I mean, obviously the Eagles and 49ers, but yeah, I don't know. There's not really too much where I'm like, God, this team is going to define the legacy of a certain head coach or a certain player.
I think it's interesting just because I could see a lot of honestly, you can make the case that maybe all the road teams win. I would be surprised the 49ers beat the Eagles, but I think a lot of road teams have the edge. I think obviously the Rams are the better team than the Panthers, and if they lose today, what the hell are we talking about?
It is also really rare. Sorry, going back to the Niners and the Eagles.
No, go ahead.
It's extremely rare to see Brock Purdy have two back-to-back kind of just, or not Brock Purdy, the 49ers offense have two back-to-back just terrible games. It's been pretty rare this year.
Yeah, it definitely has, but I think you're seeing the holes in the offensive line. They've been really good of late, but in pass protection, you're seeing better defensive lines overpower them, where they played the Bears, they played the Colts, and we're seeing the Bears defense may not be what we thought they were.
Yeah.
And for this matchup for the 49ers, for them to win, it's simple. Just Christian McCaffrey needs to rush for a ton of yards. They need to control the time of possession. It's the same formula they won with pretty much all season long, where try to put up 40 points. Try to win the time of possession against the Eagles. Christian McCaffrey, in my opinion, needs to have like 125 yards rushing. I don't think that I think that's going to be tough. I think the Eagles' defensive line is that good. You can't have Jalen Hurts run all over you. That's the thing where I think they're overmatched. Where I hear a lot of people this week, we talked to a ton of people to break down this game, and everybody says make sure Jalen Hurts stays in the pocket and has to go through his progressions. But if there's no pass rush, then Jalen Hurts can easily just run for a first down, and he hasn't been as mobile as in years past, but I think he can use his legs. Like, no one on that defensive line scares me right now as far as a pass rusher. So there's that. You can't have Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown beat you over the top, but we've seen this year that, those guys have let big plays happen. We saw it a couple weeks ago with DJ Moore, or it was Luther Burden for the Bears against the 49ers.
You do need Bryce Huff to get home.
Yeah, you do.
Like, I don't think I haven't looked at like his sack totals at all. Then I saw he had 4. Hasn't had one since the game against the Falcons, which was like week 7.
Yeah.
And
I think I want to say he only had 2 with the Eagles his whole time there.
I was shocked though at that, because it feels like, and going back and watching some of these games, that Huff is getting into the backfield. Like, it feels like there's several times where he has just completely beat the offensive tackle. And you're like, God damn, Bryce Huff. It's this is why they traded for him, because he has that athleticism. I was going back and watching those Bryce Huff thing, like a lot of Bryce Huff interviews to see if he said anything about the Eagles, because I was doing a little story on like, this could be one revenge game for a 49er.
Mm-hmm.
I was going back to see if he said anything about the Eagles. He didn't, but he was kind of talking about their scheme quite a lot without saying it. And he said, this one, he's like, I could just be an athlete, I don't have to solve some equation before I get to the quarterback. Like I could just get up and go. And you've seen that, but he hasn't got to the quarterback. He hasn't got home, which is, I'm going to go back to John Gruden and his thing on pressure. I'm tired of pressures, man. Give me a sack. What's a pressure?
Seriously. And if they don't get any pressure or sacks on Jalen Hurts, then he's going to have all day, whether to run or throw. And we've seen the last few weeks, the defense can't stop the run.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to have a hard time. Even though Saquon hasn't been great this year, I think they're going to have a hard time stopping Saquon.
Dude, but talking about it, though, I am so glad that we actually have like a rivalry where it's going to be player going against player, where they genuinely don't seem to – like where Jordan Mailata is talking that trash. You expect that Bryce Huff is going to be lined up on his side.
Yeah.
Right? Like Jordan Mailata against Bryce Huff, seeing two guys actually go one-on-one in the trenches that have a little history, that is something for me that just takes over. You know, like an offensive lineman against a defensive lineman when there's a pass there. Come on.
All right.
It's going to be a fun little battle to watch.
So let's pick these games, but real quick before we do, I forgot to bring this up earlier, and Rocket just brought it up. Harbaugh got fired via phone call. Yeah, I saw that this morning from Diana Rossini. Apparently, he was driving his way home from the facility, and then Steve Bisciotti called him to say, we're letting you go. And then he came in the next day. They went over it. A lot of weird reporting with the Harbaugh firing. It sounds like Lamar Jackson wanted him out. I don't know if that's 100% true. There's a whole thing with Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport going at each other as far as the Ravens locker room was tired of Harbaugh. Adam Schefter saying that's not the case. I haven't seen anything with Lamar Jackson coming out with like a statement on Harbaugh and what he meant to him. Do you have the clip I sent you, Steven, where I thought this was kind of telling? After they lost the game and emotions are high, Lamar Jackson's upset about the loss because they lost on a missed kick from Tyler Loop. And it's fresh. It just happened. He's not thinking about next season. He's pissed off. But he is asked about John Harbaugh and his future. And let's just say Lamar Jackson did give a ringing endorsement for him to come back.
What do you feel like this team's potential was if it got to the playoffs?
Just focus on the next opponent. I wasn't worried about anything, just focusing on winning. And we had to win here. We didn't, so.
Lamar, there's a lot of questions about Harbaugh's future as well. Do you want to see John remain the coach next year?
Did he spit on a reporter?
No, I think he had sunflower seeds or something. I love it.
Harbaugh's future as well. Do you want to see John remain the coach next year?
I don't know why, man. That's so funny. All right, continue.
That's you asking me about next year, Jameson. Like, I'm so caught up in what just happened tonight. I can't focus on that right now. I just told you. Like, he asked me, "Are you stunned?" I'm stunned right now. I'm still trying to process what's going on. Like, I know we lost, but what the that's all.
All right, thank you, Lamar.
Appreciate you.
God damn it, Jameson.
Yeah, Jameson, you're asking questions too soon. I understand that they're not focused on next season, but when it's something as simple as do you want your head coach back next year, I think like even, what was it, Jalen Brunson after they asked about Tom Thibodeau?
Yeah.
He was like, what kind of question is that?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like what kind of question is that? Of course I want him back. Lamar didn't really answer the question. And that makes me believe that maybe, not that he pulled like a Paul Westhead with Magic Johnson or anything, but I don't think he gave a ringing endorsement to Steve Bisciotti to have him come back. That's what I believe.
No, not at all. But I don't know. Maybe Lamar Jackson's not one to be as calculated with that, where he genuinely is just like, I'm not thinking about that right now. I don't care. I don't care about anybody else.
No, that's fair. But if the roles were reversed and John Harbaugh was asked, do you want Lamar Jackson to be your quarterback next season? He said, I'm not thinking about that right now. We would all be like, whoa, what the hell does that mean?
It's true.
Yeah,
not wrong.
All right. Let's pick these games, Steven. Let's do a little wins or wangs for, don't call it super, Wildcard weekend. Yeah. All right, Stephen, let's start with the 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. This will be the Sunday matchup at 1:30 on Fox with Tom Brady, Kevin Burkhardt. The Eagles are now 6-point favorites. The over-under is 44.5.
Yeah, and I think the line opened and Eagles favored by 3.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's favored by 6, I think, tells you a lot. And in what bettors are thinking, in that a lot of people are putting money down on the Eagles to win by at least 3. But what I'm going to do, I don't see the 49ers winning this game. I just don't. It's just tough. When I keep going back and forth, and I've heard all the reasons for it. I've been listening to a lot of sports talk on it this week, and I hear all the reasoning why the 49ers can win, and I still believe they can. It's just what that defense did against the Seahawks, what the defense did against the Seahawks offense, and what the Seahawks defense was able to do as well. Like, I just see too much talent on both sides of the ball for the 49ers to overcome. However, I still see a very good Brock Purdy game incoming, and I think it's going to be close, but I'm going to take the 49ers to lose. I will take them to cover, though. I'll take them to cover that 6, and I'll have the Eagles winning. And what's the total?
44.5.
Yeah, that. I think they got it spot on. I'm going to go under, but I think it's going to be like a 24-20 game.
Yeah, I've basically said all week that I think the Eagles are winning, and I just think they are. I think that this is a good spot for them. I think if the 49ers had more help on defense or a better defense, there's a chance for them to really go and upset the Philadelphia Eagles. But I think the Eagles are just a better team right now. And I could give all the reasons why the 49ers can win this game, but I just don't believe it. I think that the Eagles will get right. I think that Jalen Hurts doesn't need to have a 300-yard passing type of performance. I think it's just a game where Saquon Barkley eats on the ground. The defense gets after Brock Purdy. It's close, but not close enough. I have the Eagles winning this game 27-16. So give me the Eagles. I'll lay the points, and I'm going under on the 44.5. Would that be under? Hold on. 27-16.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be.
42.
Okay.
Or 43.
Yeah, close enough. Alrighty, then we'll go with the first game that's going on today. The Rams taking on the Carolina Panthers.
I
rematch.
love when you make radio guys try to do basic arithmetic and we just can't figure it out.
I know. I mean, usually I'm good with football scores, but on the fly, 27-16, yeah.
Shit, we got to do long division.
Yeah. Okay, let's go with the first matchup of today. The Rams taking on the Carolina Panthers, a rematch of earlier this year where the Panthers upset the Rams. The Rams are 10.5-point favorites, over under 46. Devontae Adams is back for the Rams.
Dude, I don't think we're making enough about Devontae Adams and the impact that he had on this Rams offense. The fact that they missed him these last 3 games, I think there's a direct correlation with the Rams just not being as dangerous in the red zone. Obviously, we saw that game against the Seahawks where maybe the Rams should have won it and they did just fine. But other than that, they lost the 1 seed, but I think they had it in large part because of Devontae Adams' league-leading 14 touchdowns. I just don't think this is the Panthers' time. So give me I'll lay the points for the Rams. I'll take the Rams to win, and give me the over. I think this is going to be like a 34-24 game.
Damn. I think, honestly, the best thing for the Rams was to lose some of these games to get their focus back. And they saw their flaws, but they're getting healthier now. They got Tyler Higbee back. They're getting Devontae Adams back. And they're getting Quentin Lake back on defense. I don't know if that's going to help them in the secondary immensely, but they should win this game. And I don't think they're going to get fooled twice by the Carolina Panthers. So I think the Rams win this game like 28-10.
Yeah.
Give me the Rams, lay the points, and I'll go under on the 46. Then we got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Chicago Bears. Third time they're meeting each other in the playoffs and this season. We know the other matchups where the Packers won earlier this year with an interception in the end zone, and the Bears come back. The Packers were resting a week ago. Josh Jacobs thinks he's healthy, the healthiest he's been all season long. Jordan Love coming off of the injury, the concussion. The Packers are the road favorites at 1.5, over under 44.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take the home team. I'm going to take the home team to win, and I'll take the over. And I'll lay the point. Take the home team to win, and I'll lay the points with the not lay the points. I'll take the over on the points.
I'm taking the Packers to win this game. I just think that similar to years ago when Sean McVay was a rookie head coach and the Rams were this high-flying offense, a more experienced team came in and beat them. And that was the Atlanta Falcons with Dan Quinn and Matt Ryan. And Matt Ryan, now you're president of football operations with the Falcons. Shocker. I think it's the same thing today where Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love, they may not be the better team, but they have more experience. I think we're seeing holes in this Bears defense now. So give me the Packers to win. I'll lay the points, and I'll go over on the 44.5.
Let's hope your Packers can get by, man.
My Packers. Not the same, though. Not the same without Parsons. I think it's going to be short-lived for them as far as a playoff run.
Sun is brutal today, huh?
Yeah, it's go through your blinds. Close your blinds.
I'm trying here. Going the other way.
Then we got I think this is the best game of the weekend as far as the quarterbacks. Buffalo taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Josh Allen going up against Trevor Lawrence. The Bills were favorites at one point, and then it switched. The money came in on Jacksonville. So now the Jags are 1-point favorites, over under 51.5. This is tough. This is probably the toughest game to pick.
But I think it comes down to the quarterbacks, and I just trust Josh Allen more.
Yeah.
At this current time. So I'm going to take the Bills to win. I think they have more to play for too, and I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, man. If we're going off of like X's and O's and what we see on film, the Jags should win this game. They've been the better football team, and it's the number one rushing offense in the Bills going against the number one rushing defense in the Jags. Trevor Lawrence is playing out of his mind. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if the Jags actually blow out the Bills here. But it's Josh Allen, man, and maybe I'm just going more with my heart than my head. I'm going with Josh Allen. I want to see him do this. I think he's deserving of a Super Bowl finally. There's plenty of time for Trevor Lawrence, plenty of time for Drake May and Bo Nix, and there's plenty of time for Josh Allen too. He's pretty young. But I don't know. I would be upset if he lost this game. And I think there's a chance. I think the Bills' defense is better than what we've been talking about. They are the number one pass defense in football, and they have pass rushers. This is where I think the experience of Josh Allen comes into play. Against my better judgment, I'm going with the Bills, and I got them winning this game. I'll go over on the 51.5. Then we got the Sunday night game. Chargers taking on the Patriots. Patriots are 3.5-point favorites. Omarion Hampton's going to play in this game. He's questionable. It sounds like he's going to play for the Chargers. Over under 45.5.
I think the Patriots run has been great. Drake May could be an MVP candidate, but I'm going to go with the Chargers. I just think they're the more experienced team, and I think they're going to win, so I'm going to take them, and I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, I hear you on that one, man. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they did win. And if I'm going off of my QB and head coaching combinations, I value Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert more than Drake May and Mike Vrabel. Vrabel's been a great head coach, but really his only playoff success was that run in 2019 where they upset the Ravens and lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Since that time, he hasn't won a playoff game. And it's not like Jim has amazing playoff success, but when it comes to the two quarterbacks, yeah, Justin Herbert has the more experience and better than Drake May, even though Drake May is having an MVP caliber season. But just the offensive line being banged up for the Chargers gives me pause. So that's why I'm taking the Patriots. They are the better team. Give me the Patriots to win this game. I'll lay the points, and I'll go under on the 45.5. And then finally, the Monday night matchup, we got the Houston Texans taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Texans finally not in that Saturday afternoon time slot when it comes to the wildcard matchups. The Texans are 3-point favorites, over under 38, and DK Metcalf is back for the Steelers.
God, I think the point spread's perfect. I see the Texans taking this one 16-13, so I guess I'll lay the points with them, and I'll take the under.
I got the exact same thing. I think that, yeah, honestly, same score. Like, I think it's going to be that much of a slugfest. I can't see, like, Rodgers just hangs on the ball way too long, and the Ravens now have a pass rush. That's how he's able to move out of the pocket and throw that touchdown pass. Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr., like, good God. I can't see the Steelers winning this game. I think that they can make it close, and their defense, lets them hang around for a while, and DK makes a difference. Yeah. But the Texans' defense is legit. So I think this is the Texans' victory. Yeah, lay the points with the Texans. I'll go under. I think Mike Tomlin stays, but I think this is the last game for Aaron Rodgers. I think that, sigh of relief after winning that game against the Ravens, and then he'll prolong this thing and probably announce it on Pat McAfee, but I think this is his last game in the NFL. So there you go. Those are our picks for Wild Card Weekend in the NFL. Steven, you got a Jackass of the Week?
Oh God, who was it? I had one in the back pocket. I just totally blanked on it. Oh God. Oh, who was my Jackass of the Week? It was from a game. It wasn't because the Warriors game. There was a fight in the Warriors game, but there wasn't that. It was in the Steelers game last week. There's some Steelers fan because I had to wait. We had to wait a week for this, but there's a video that got posted and it went viral. It was not the Warriors game where there seemed to be a fight from afar and it didn't look like too much.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
there's a Steelers game, and it was the Steelers Ravens, and some dad who has his son next to him who looks like or maybe it wasn't his son, but there's still just like a kid who couldn't be older than 12 years old. This guy started yelling at this woman who was a Ravens fan. I don't know how it all started. I don't know what the context to it was, but it got to the point where they're having a screaming match, and then the woman throws beer on him, and as he's continually like getting louder and louder, there's a little opening where you see the kid, and the kid is just bawling. He is crying. Like, and a lot of people on, say, like Twitter or Instagram are saying, get a backbone. This is the NFL. Don't bring a kid to a football game. But you can also see that as being a life-changing moment for that kid where he is never going to forget it. And I hated seeing that. So for both of them who just can't be the mature individual saying back off, like, you throw beer on somebody is going to get pissed. Like, it's going to happen. But that guy shouldn't have been yelling at the woman in the first place. So really, those two, I don't know what started it. So maybe I'm completely wrong on that. But they get my Jackass of the Week. Seeing the kid start crying, like, come on, dude. Come on.
People are actually saying you don't bring a kid to an NFL game?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, Steelers, Ravens, emotions
so people
are
can
high.
Be assholes.
Yeah. Well,
I could find it.
Should kids be brought to this Eagles and 49ers playoff game?
Probably not. I mean, shoot, my dad didn't let me go to a Raider game till I was like 13, 14.
Yeah, I'll be honest. My dad was hesitant when I was a kid to bring me to Raider games. It wasn't until 2000 when I was like 9 years old. So it took some time, but it's a different environment at NFL games. But that shouldn't be the reason why kids should be allowed to come. You're going to see some stuff, and unfortunately, you cry. But
it's just I just kept looking at the kid. And I felt so bad for him because I was just like, he's totally out of his element.
Yeah.
It's
How young was the kid? You would say?
What's that?
How young was the kid? Would you say?
I told you, couldn't have been older than 12.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's probably a lot for him to see his dad get into a fight, so that's why he's crying, but 12's old enough.
Yeah, it is, but it's just, can't we control ourselves here?
Of course.
Can't we see the surrounding area and maybe, hey, this is affecting them? I don't know. I saw that and my heart kind of...
Of course. You never want to see a kid cry. Come on now.
Yeah, so those two, Jackasses of the Week.
All right, fair enough. Speaking of Jackass, we'll get to a little Jackass later, but as far as Jackass of the Week, initially, I was going to have Mario Cristobal in here because I don't like the way he handled things on the post game. Then again, I'm reminded he's a coach. He's allowed to not want to give into any of the bullshit, all of the pomp and circumstance after a game. But I don't know if you saw this, Steven. He was not having it where they're on the podium he's so focused. He's from the old school of the U back in the day when they won national championships with Michael Irvin. And when it comes to people saying the U is back, he's like, stop that right now. I don't want to hear that. The U is not back. So before we get to this, he's on the podium when they win the Peach Bowl, whatever it is. No, the Peach Bowl was last night. Whatever bowl this was. Like it's just another playoff game. So when they give him the trophy and everything, the woman that's like the sponsor, the Verbo, whatever, and she's like, I want to congratulate the Miami Hurricanes on winning this game. And you can hear Mario Cristobal in the background while she's on the microphone being like, can we get some actual players on the podium here, not just a bunch of random ass people? It's like people in suits that look at him like, all right, dude, we get it. And they give him the award. He's like, whatever, I could give a shit. And then he does the interview with SVP, Scott Van Pelt. And Cristobal, whenever someone brings up the fact that Miami is one win away from a national championship and they're back, he's like, I don't want to hear that. Nope. I have no patience for this stuff. And Scott Van Pelt wasn't having it.
And I love what you told me last time about cringing initially at the idea of being back. And there's still 60. I'm not. You gotta love me. You gotta love me. Do you not trust me enough? Do you not trust me enough to ask a question? Let me ask you a question.
You're a professional, brother. You're a professional. I can trust you to sit here with 1-0 and we're going to be great.
I'm asking you, what are you proudest of tonight that you accomplished tonight? 1-0 is always the goal. What are you most proud of that your group accomplished tonight?
Yeah.
So if you didn't hear it, like he's cutting off Scott Van Pelt, like Scott.
Oh, brother.
No, we're not doing that. Like SVP is smart enough to know don't ask questions that are going to piss off your guests. And as I said, Cristobal like does not want to hear that Miami's back. So he starts to preface the question by saying, I know you don't like this. I know you don't like that. And he's like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And he's like, have the respect to let me finish the fucking question. So I get it. Like he's a head coach, but I kind of was turned off by Cristobal just being like a no nonsense type of guy.
Well, does this give you any pause on calling him a jackass? Because in response, Scott Van Pelt said he's not at all annoyed, man. This was two guys having fun and busting chops.
Yeah, that's why he is an honorable mention for my jackass of the week.
Oh.
My real jackass of the week, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Why, you ask, Steven?
I'm waiting.
The Warriors played the Bucks, had a good performance, 34 points, and Sam Amick caught up with him. Did you read this at all, the Q&A they did together?
Nah.
Or not the Q&A, but just the interview they did. Sam Amick was like, so what's the deal, Giannis? Do you want to play for the Bucks? Do you not want to play for the Bucks? And I give credit to Giannis where he doesn't want to be the bad guy. He doesn't want to be like Anthony Davis. But, dude, you can't have it both ways. He is basically saying, well, I want to be here. I mean, you're never going to find me demand a trade. But I can't control what the Bucks organization does. So if they want to trade me, go right ahead. And then Sam's like, well, hold on, Giannis. You have a say in this. There's a reason why people are reporting that you may want out of Milwaukee. So don't act like you're the one in control or you're not in control of your future with the Bucks. And he goes, no, I'm just an employee here. And Sam's like, well, I find that hard to believe. So I don't think Giannis is getting traded. I think that any hope of him going to the Warriors was killed by him not being public with this. If there's any way where he goes to the Warriors, he has to be a bad guy. He has to be Anthony Davis. He has to say, I want to play with Steph Curry. And I'm not willing to play for any other team. And I agree with you, Stephen. When NBA players want out, they usually get their way. But Giannis doesn't want to seem like the bad guy here. And I respect that a ton. But you can't have it both ways where he's being non-committal, where he literally says in the interview with Sam Amick, you never know in life. I can wake up tomorrow and my wife doesn't love me anymore and I get a divorce. So we'll see what happens here. You got to pick a lane, dude. You got to pick. Do you want to be with the Bucks or you don't want to be with the Bucks? You can't just seem like the good guy all the time.
Is this jackass of the week or badass of the week? Because this quote
you think it's badass?
Is badass. Saying, I'm not letting you get away with that in response.
Oh, no. That's, I mean, dude, you know I love Sam Amick. And we have him on weekly on Dirty Work. I love Sam Amick. It's badass. It's more jackass, though, of Giannis, I would say.
Dude, the badass thing with Giannis? Look at it this way. I have a family office where I have employees who work for me, people who run my whole life, business, day-to-day investment, real estate, capital, endorsements, everything. It's between 8 to 12 employees, but I'm in charge. You know why? Because I'm the boss, the chairman. But on the court, I can only control what I can control. I am not in charge. Somebody writes my check. Tomorrow, the person who writes my check might say, I don't want to write that check no more. Let somebody else write that check. Badass, man.
I don't know. I think he's playing both sides of it, where he's like, I want to be traded, but I'm not going to let everybody know that I want to be traded.
Every time I think of Giannis, there's like something that just pops up into my head where I think of Serge Ibaka calling him during his little cooking show when Serge Ibaka had a cooking show.
Yeah.
He FaceTimed him and he goes, You're a rebounder, a screen setter.
It's pretty good.
You know, you're not a scorer, man. You're a rebounder, screen setter. It was just like such a backhanded insult. And I
Yeah, a
always
little
think
bit.
about that.
Yeah.
It's like anytime I see Jesse Ventura now, I can't help but think of Will Sasso's impression, down in the Baja. You know?
Down in the Baja. It's pretty
I
good.
got my condo down in the Baja.
Any pop culture catch up, Steven?
Oh boy. Yeah. Did we watch anything this week? We
If you didn't, it's all good.
No, we I watched Jay Kelly last night.
How is that? How is that?
The George Clooney and Adam Sandler flick. It's good. It's just it's a drama about an
Aging actor,
a George Clooney type who's very, very popular, but seems to be working through his loneliness, even though he's a celebrity, and the need for family. And I think that they've set it up and put it in an interesting way where him and Adam Sandler's characters are really contrasting in that department. I think Adam Sandler was hilarious as this agent who just is always on the phone with somebody, and it's usually his family. It's not really him conducting business. It's a good little flick. We liked it. But I forgot what Jesse said. Something about Clooney, and it's like, is that really, isn't that kind of, I forgot, she didn't use the word narcissistic, but she said, like, you're just going to make a movie about your life. Like, you're starring a movie about your life. But then she's like, oh, Noah Baumbach directed and wrote it. It was good. Yeah, enjoyed it.
Yeah, Rockin' New Era is bringing up the fact that I said George Clooney sold out to marriage. And he did. He was like this, this bachelor for years. And now he settled down. And you know what? I think I haven't seen this movie, but I hear it's basically about him. And not that it's narcissistic, but I think it's reflective, where kind of like Michael Keaton doing Birdman, where you kind of make a movie kind of like what the perception is of you, but maybe not in reality. But I haven't seen this, so I can't say, but it sounds like George Clooney's playing a version of himself where he's, valued fame and celebrity more than his personal life.
Yeah.
And maybe now he's focused on that with settling down with marriage.
Yeah. And there's there's one character who is kind of symbolic of his past life and what could have been. It's pretty interesting. And then there's it's kind of the same thing with like Gwyneth Paltrow, right? She's kind of playing that character in Marty
Supreme, 100% she is, yeah.
She hasn't acted in 10 years, and she feels like she's kind of this, old famed actor who hasn't been in anything since the Marvel movies. So she's kind of getting back on track in terms of being on the silver screen. It was that. God, what did we watch this week? Yeah, I can't even think of really anything else. We watched that last night.
I was ecstatic about the news this week where Jackass is coming back to theaters. Jackass 5. This is the only film series where I'm like, give me more. Like, I want more creativity. I want more theater going experience. This is the ultimate theater going experience, in my opinion. I'm glad this is not like going straight to Paramount Plus or anything. This is going to be in theaters June 26th of this year. And it gets funnier because when they get older, it's funnier to me. But I think Jackass, the simple thing of someone getting kicked in the nuts is universal to anybody. This goes from generation to generation. I think Gen Z kids can get behind this. I think, my mom loves Jackass. It's hilarious. And I'm glad that I guess some fences have been mended when it comes to Bam Margera. It sounds like he's going to be in the movie, but it's old footage. It's not anything new that they filmed with him, but I hope that leads to more stuff. And yeah, like I said the other day, Jackass paved the way for like Eric Andre and all these other prank shows. So yeah, if they could do more of them, I'm all for it. I love Jackass.
Yeah, and it's good to see Bam Margera kind of, I don't know, he looks a lot better than he did after Ryan Dunn died, which I don't know. And that started making me like all sad because it's like, God, these guys had a lot of issues when they were coming up. There's a couple other things. I did watch the Diddy documentary.
How was that?
It was really good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was more about. I mean, like a lot of it was a lot of the last episode was about the more recent stuff, but the first 3 episodes more about his rise in the music industry and how he basically screwed over everybody.
Yeah.
And whether he did it in a way that was charged for, or in which he was sued for sexual assault, did it in a way where he was sued for basically not paying people. There's a couple of cuts, edits in it, which just you had to know like they did it on purpose to kind of make the audience laugh, but also to kind of show in just how much, show how much he kind of grifted, I guess, off of the death of Notorious B.I.G. There's like one edit that I remember where they showed like the thing where after Biggie died, and then it just immediately cut to Diddy like on the stage dancing to Every Step You Take.
Yeah, he made that song. Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting look into like the rise of him and hip hop and Bad Boy Records and all the guys that he kind of, that were on the rise because of him. But then like it turned out like he wanted to be the bigger star and he got jealous of a bunch of people. It was pretty good. And another thing, saw a trailer for this. It just came out and it's got pretty good reviews so far. I think it got like 78% on Rotten Tomatoes when you wouldn't expect it. But a horror movie called Primate.
Yeah.
You seen this?
I have. Yeah. Our guy, Danny Dunn, who's in the chat sometimes, and actually going to meet with him in a couple hours to watch these football games. He's into horror movies, and he showed me the trailer for this, and I'm like, no, I'm out. I am not a fan of this. Monkeys, having pet monkeys sounds scary to me because I've heard a bunch of stories. There was one in high school, I remember, where this trainer for a monkey, the monkey went crazy one day and just ripped off her face.
Yeah.
Terrible story. And we've had so many monkey movies lately with CGI, with Rise of the Planet of the Apes or the Robbie Williams movie, where I'm like, oh, God, this is kind of freaky where they can attack at any moment. A movie where a friendly monkey, a pet monkey goes crazy and kills all of the family. I'm like, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Lucy's tropical island homecoming turns deadly when her family's clever chimpanzee Ben becomes rabid. With her father away and no help coming, paradise becomes a prison as Lucy and her friends fight for survival against a pet they once trusted.
Yeah. I'm going to pass on that one. Anything else, Steven?
No.
All right, then. No. All right, then I think we'll be back on Monday. You want to do Monday again? No, because the Steelers are in Texas are playing. No, we'll do Tuesday. Tuesday it is.
Regular Tuesday.
Regular old Tuesday. Everybody, we'll see you then. We'll react to the wild card matchups and see what happens with the head coaching carousel. Everybody in the chat, thanks to Rocka New Era. Thanks to Ernie One. Thanks to Pat H. Thanks to AJ Cruz. Thanks to Dan Dunn. Thanks to Tim Webb. I think that's everybody. If I'm forgetting somebody, I apologize. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Steven, say what you always say.
It is just our opinion, man. Enjoy the game.